the things I've seen. I was feeling like I almost had to step in and protect these people because they were being abused. Hello friends, my name is Paige and I travel full-time with my husband Justin and our 18-year-old cat Ratface. This is our moving castle. I kept Justin out of this video because I'm going to share my opinions. I wanted to be a little gossipy today, if you'll bear with me. We spent the last month in Florida. This was our first time RVing in Florida. And we went into it with an open mind. We'd heard some rumors we weren't sure about. So today I'd like to talk about the 10 most shocking things that I learned about RVing in Florida. Some of them are quirky, some of them are downright weird, and some of them maybe a little bit overly personal. But with that said, let's dive in. These are in no particular order. So the first thing that really surprised me about Florida was how dang sweaty our clothes got. Like, I'm not kidding. People who RV full-time know that there's not a lot of storage space. Even in the best closets, they're still kind of small. So Justin and I, we both don't have that many clothes and we wear them over and over again. And I am constantly doing laundry on the road. I can usually get away with doing laundry once a week. Sometimes I can stretch it out to every other week if we are in a situation where laundry is kind of expensive at a campground or we stay somewhere that doesn't have a laundry facility. Not in Florida. Actually, I could not go a full week in Florida. I felt like I had to do laundry twice a week. We found that we were getting sweatier and grosser in Florida in general. We were taking showers not once a day, but twice a day. We had to come back at night and take another shower. The humidity is real in Florida, but it's not all doom and gloom. The second surprising thing about RVing in Florida was how wonderful Publix is. Yes, you heard me right, Publix, the grocery store. I had no idea how good the grab and go section was going to be. We had so many days when we went to Publix and we were able to go right in the deli and find awesome food for a cheap price. Their salads are phenomenal. I know that their subs are really famous. We actually never got one of their subs, but just the big salads. The sushi section was really reasonable. I was really surprised. And in addition to the grab and go, the grocery stores had a lot of really unique, interesting food. I'm going to miss Publix, and that was a surprise. For context, I grew up in Maine. I lived almost a decade in Cleveland, and then I spent 4 years in Dallas. So I've been all over the country, especially with RVing in the last 9 months. I've tried so many grocery stores and Publix blew me away. The third shocking thing for me was just how different the Panhandle and the peninsula were in a great number of ways. So the Panhandle is that kind of skinny strip off to the left, and then the kind of the body of the Florida is apparently properly known as the peninsula, which I looked up for this video because I didn't know either. The Panhandle was really easy to book. The weather was different. The Panhandle was more affordable. Once you get into the peninsula of Florida, that's when, like, the stuff that I heard about Florida, that it was hard to find campsites, that it was very expensive, that everything was very expensive, the roads were congested, all of that became true when we got to the peninsula, especially south of I-4. Completely different there. I wasn't prepared, but yeah, it is kind of like two different states. The Panhandle being more like Alabama or Mississippi, and then the peninsula being like Florida. The next thing that I discovered was that about half of the parks in Florida are 55 plus only, which is wonderful if you're 55 plus. And I know that the RV park owners, they get an incentive from the government for providing affordable housing for 55 plus and all that. So I understand why it's the case, and there's certainly the demand because so many people want to retire to Florida. But as somebody in my 40s, it's kind of a nightmare. Justin has talked about it on an earlier video, but with the filters on a lot of the RV booking, you can include features. So you can say, hey, bring up all the 55 plus parks in Florida. But you can't say exclude. In a lot of the big search engines, you can't say don't show me 55 plus. So the administrative nightmare of even figuring out where we were going and then how busy things were and then how expensive they were, especially in the peninsula, was shocking to us. It shouldn't have been. Everybody warned us, but you'll find a theme in some of our videos that people will exaggerate sometimes. In all areas of life, people are chicken little, but especially in the RV forums, sometimes people really exaggerate and then you try it out and it's like, oh, it's not that bad. They weren't exaggerating. It really is like that in Florida. But I will say another pleasant surprise was that the RV park customer service was exceptional in Florida. Everywhere we went, it was incredible. They went above and beyond. I felt like I was at a really nice hotel, which frankly, a lot of the places were priced like that because of the Florida demand. But sometimes with RV parks, you get kind of a step down in service just because it's kind of got that camping thing. It's more hands off. So I really wasn't expecting that going in. And then it was like this really pleasant surprise that, oh my gosh, this Florida RV resort is acting like a resort. There is, however, kind of a dark flip side to the excellent customer service in Florida RV parks, especially if you're a person with a lot of empathy like I am. I feel for people. And I used to work customer service. I'm a writer and I work social media these days, but I have worked every job under the sun. In my past life, I worked retail, I worked food service, I even cleaned rooms as a hotel maid in a very rundown hotel back in Maine, near the airport. The things I've seen. But because of that, I have a lot of empathy for people that are working customer service because I've been there, and also I just care about people in general. I'm sorry. Is it a crime? I care about people. So when I see somebody that's being treated badly, it really bothers me. And I will say that some of my RV park neighbors, the other people checking into the Florida RV parks, were some of the nastiest and meanest people, the customer service representatives that I have ever seen. And maybe it's because of the high price. Maybe it's because it's a lot of people's dream to retire and live in Florida in an RV. And they have kind of a picture of perfection in their mind, and so anything that doesn't line up with that experience makes them really cranky. I don't know, but the entitlement and the cruelty were off the charts. And so I was feeling like I almost had to step in and protect these people because they were being abused. It was hard to watch. I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to overstep. But I tried to be as kind as possible as I could to at least somewhat offset the mistreatment. It was hard to watch though, very cringy, as they say. Not a good energy. And here's something I was warned about, but I still found shocking because, as we've talked about, stereotypes sometimes have the truth to them, but sometimes they're exaggerations, so you never know. I was warned by two different people going into this about Florida drivers. One person actually grew up in Florida and had moved to Texas. He goes back and forth, to visit family, and he warned me that Florida drivers are terrible. Watch out, especially in the RV. I also had another person that wasn't a close friend, was actually a neighbor at an RV park we stayed at when we were in Louisiana. Lovely woman. She was like, warning Justin, watch out for Florida drivers. I think I'd kind of heard it through the grapevine. It's up there with Florida man as far as stereotypes. Yeah, it's true. The legends are real. Florida drivers are scary sometimes. And I think part of it is that, especially during the winter, everybody's coming from different areas. There's a lot of retirees down there, and there's all different rules of the roads and driving style from all different parts of the country. And so you have like kind of that going on. You also have city drivers that are used to having to be aggressive mixed in with maybe people who, like my family's from rural Maine. I've had times growing up where I didn't see anybody on the whole road all day. So you don't necessarily have to learn how to share the road. I had to learn that when I moved to the city, when I moved to Cleveland, which is a small city, but a city nonetheless. And if you go straight from Maine to Florida and you're older, never done it before, it can be a big change. And maybe just because it gets so hot, not during the winter, but during the summer, people get kind of ornery when it gets hot. So I don't know, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was quite scary, but we did our best. And the final point is that I was shocked that after a full month in Florida and looking out at every opportunity, I did not see one alligator, not a one. I was really looking for them. I wasn't trying to, be moronic and get tangled by one. I walk Ratface outside. He loves to eat grass. He loves to see things. He's a great travel cat. He's leash trained and a heck of a sport. And I had my peepers peeled for alligators to make sure that we'd be safe, and I was being very careful. Poisonous snakes as well around any sort of standing water, whether it was, an actual lake or just like a drainage ditch, being very, very careful. I never saw any indication of any alligators. When we were out, we were driving around, looking in lakes and everything. I never saw one there. There's this stereotype, there's this thought that, you're going to Florida, you're going to run into alligators. People even warned me about it. Nothing. And I was really looking. Justin had told me one of the big keys with alligators and one of the dangers is that they often kind of look like sticks in the water. And so I was looking specifically for logs. Justin says, if you see an alligator and you know it's an alligator, it's probably too late. So it's probably for the best. But, the alligator hype, not real. If you're going to Florida, you're more likely to be in danger from the Florida drivers. and you're more likely to end up sweaty and stinky. So that's just what I found. But again, these are just my thoughts. If you disagree, if you have any other quirks about Florida RVing you want to add to the list, drop it below. But it's been good chatting with you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.